Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Game Week 19 deadline live stream. As always, I am late to my own stream, but anybody that's usual around here will know that's just a regular occurrence and it's always going to happen. But we're here now. And no, if you're joining this, you haven't missed the deadline. And it isn't going to be 11 a.m. either. It's actually going to be a little bit later on, as it is going to be a 1 p.m. UK deadline. So we have so much time until the deadline. But the reason why I'm on early doors is because I'm actually out at 11:30. I have double booked myself, which is a little bit of a nightmare. But I am going to be, of course, answering your questions over the next 45 minutes or so. So get your questions in the chat. Of course, this is going to be all about you guys. That is the purpose of these live streams, is to answer as much as I can for you guys. And of course, I will reveal my team as well, because I still am debating a few things on whether to bench certain players or whether to make a late transfer. So I'll give you a bit of an update where I am currently sat. But as always, if you look forward to it, make sure to drop a like and of course hit that subscribe button. There's some awesome stuff over the last few days with you guys dropping comments, and hopefully I have gotten to the majority of them. If I've missed any, I will get to them. So Levanio, hope you're doing well, mate. Ivan saying final bits and bobs. Yes, I was rushing around like a madman this morning. Chris saying, don't lie, mate, I'm trying to find a way to put Mateta in the team. Has been on my mind, but I can confirm he won't be making my team this week. No Fear saying, is Cunha bad? No. So anybody that knows Boona over on the Twitter community, he is the GOAT when it comes to just basically coming up with fake news. He always creates fake accounts or changes the name of his account and then posts stuff. He got everybody. He got The Athletic, he got Metro, The Sun, all of those lot. No, he is not banned. I personally am expecting a ban anytime soon. I think it might be game week 20 or 21 onwards, hence why I've not been suggesting to buy Cunha, because I think that could be a transfer out very, very soon. But with Cunha right now, if you own, do not sell. Spurs could be going into this game week with Basuma at the back, which says everything that you need to know. Craig, hope we do well, mate. Colin saying I'm later than his local bus, which I cannot deny at all. T-Bone, hope you're well, mate, making me hungry with that name. Ben W saying, morning, mate. Hope all is well. Thoughts on bench and Chris Wood over the likes of Rodgers, Sarr or Jackson? Okay, so Chris Wood this game week, obviously with Nottingham Forest. Just reminding myself of the fixture. So Forest, of course, are away against Everton, who are just good defensively, aren't they? I can't see that being a high scoring game at all. Now, look at the players that you're comparing it to. We've got Rodgers at home against Brighton, which is a great game. Sarr, I think I definitely would play over Chris Wood, and then Jackson. So I would probably rank that as I definitely would start Jackson and Sarr over Chris Wood. And just because Rodgers has a home game, I probably would just put Rodgers over Chris Wood. However, we need to remember that you are benching a penalty taker in the shape of Chris Wood, so you're always taking a big risk with that. If you are going to start Chris Wood, then I would bench Rodgers over Sarr or Jackson. Over and Out podcast is saying, worth a -4 for Foden to Gordon and Wood to Isak. No. Phil Foden away against Leicester this game week is just not a player that I would even consider selling. Anybody that's watched Leicester this season under Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think they've gotten worse. They are conceding so many chances. I know Man City have been poor, but I just don't actually see how Leicester lay a glove on Man City today. Famous last words. So, no, I feel that's a bit forced, your moves this week. I would keep Phil Foden 100%. And most technique, as always, hope you're doing well, my friend. Stefan saying, bench one, Kudos at home against Liverpool, Mikalenko at home against Forest, or Hall away against Man United, or João Pedro. Now, I would start Kudos because I do think he has that bit in him where he could hurt Liverpool in counter-attacks. Mikalenko I actually do prefer over Hall this game week. I know Man United have been woeful. And I probably would always start João Pedro over Hall. So I would bench Hall, but I get it. Man United have been woeful. And if you're of the opinion that Man United are just going to get absolutely steamrolled today, then I probably would bench Kudos because Liverpool defensively are still a good team. Should I sell Mbeumo to Gordon or hold? I think it's a good move. I don't think it's a desperate move for your team. So it's very much a case of if you think your team looks great for next week as well and you don't require that additional transfer, then yes, I think Gordon's a good pick. But is Mbeumo a terrible pick this week? I know Arsenal are great, but on penalties, it all comes down to your team structure. If you have multiple free transfers, I probably would make the move, yes. But look at your team and ask yourself, do you think another free transfer next week is actually more beneficial? Now, keep dropping the question in the chat, guys. I'll make sure I get to them. But I want to quickly give you an update on what my team is looking like, because on the subject of rolling your transfers and players being suspended, I want to show you why I'm actually debating what I'm doing with my team. So here is how my team is currently looking right now. I hope that looks okay on your screens. Let me just maybe minimize like these bits here and try and bring in a little bit, because we only really need to focus on the team more than anything. That might be a bit easier to view. So this is how my team's currently looking. I've got 0 in the bank and 1 free transfer. So when I actually look at the players in my squad, the only ones that I actually would deem a potential sell is going to be Bruno Fernandes, because with him having a red card and me having nothing in the bank, there are not many directions that I can take my team. Semenyo to Ismaila Sarr would be a consideration, but again, I can only do that as part of a -4, so that isn't an option. Salah and Palmer are obviously locked in my teams. Then we've of course got Gordon, which everybody's buying. I've had him for the last few weeks. I'm not going to be looking to sell him. Isak is a glue guy. Visser, I can't go to anybody that I want because I have no money in the bank, and João Pedro, same applies. So my team is very simple. It's either Bruno Fernandes out or roll the transfer. Now, I've touched on in a previous video about Bruno Fernandes replacements, and I've just got this real big kind of data source here. I don't think I have the other one available to me right now, and there are so many considerations. Now, for my own personal team, I got to rule out Foden because I can't get to him. So it's basically Odegaard at the top price all the way down to someone like a Morgan Rogers at 5.4 million. And I touched on this on previous videos, on my transfer plans video and my team selection video. I just don't think in this game week in isolation there is enough upside for me to make a transfer. When you're in a position like myself where you've got 0 in the bank and you've got 1 free transfer, if you keep making transfers and you don't massively downgrade a player like Bruno Fernandes to an Ismaila Sarr, you're never going to have flexibility in future weeks to make any certain moves. Hence why this week, I feel like I might just keep my team as it is, roll the transfer, and allow myself 2 free transfers the following game week to be a bit more flexible, because I think there are going to be issues that do arise later down the line that require me to have 2 free transfers. And when I look at this team on paper here, it's not ideal. But of course, I already have Munoz in the team. I didn't have to transfer him in, which a lot of managers are moving towards. I'm pretty confident on the Mo Salah captaincy as well, because I just think West Ham without Kilman, Fabianski, they might have to play like Rodriguez, whatever his name is, in midfield. I just think they're going to be a little bit weak in this game, West Ham. Not the strongest West Ham team we've seen. And I just think to myself, what moves can I make that improve it? Odegaard, but do I want him long term? Personally, I don't. Then we got options. Let me bring him back up again. Ismaila Sarr absolutely would improve my team. But then what am I doing with those additional funds the following game week? I just don't really have any desire to go elsewhere with that. Then, of course, the other options available, we go down to a Morgan Rogers. But again, what am I really doing with that money to improve the team? I don't think there's anything. So right now, controversially, I think I'm just going to roll the transfer this week and then allow myself 2 free transfers the following game week. So that's how we're looking. There's been a bit of a debate on who to bench, basically between Anderson, Semenyo and Visser. But as of right now, I just want to say to myself, who's got the toughest game? And it's Brentford against Arsenal. I know Anderson's playing up against Semenyo, but it's very much a case of, what if Fulham are going to keep a clean sheet? I want a piece of that. And if Bournemouth are going to score, I would like to think Semenyo could be involved in it in some aspects. So I know it's counterintuitive, but I have to play Visser against the Arsenal defence. So I'd rather play Anderson as Semenyo than Visser and Semenyo, for example. So that is the play that I'm going for right now. Let me know if you're in a position right now, if you are looking to sell Bruno Fernandes. And I also want to find out who is your Game Week 19 captain. Just going to get a poll in the chat a minute. And again, for anybody watching this right now is enjoying it, please consider dropping a like on the stream. We always aim for 50. So if we can get close to that, that would be amazing, like we do every week, or try to every week. So let me know in the chat, who is going to be your captaincy pick? I'm just going to drop a quick poll in there, other, and I'll put comment. Let me know in the chat, guys, who is your current plan for captaincy? I haven't put Erling Haaland on there. So if you're one of those that still owns Erling Haaland, let me know in the chat, because I do think, and I've said about this in a previous video, if you own Erling Haaland, I feel like you have to captain him, because then you got asked the question, if you own Erling Haaland at 14.7 or 14.8 million and you're not captaining him against Leicester, when are you ever going to captain him, really? Right, let's go through some more of these questions. So, I feel like I've missed a few, so let's try and get back to where I was. Lilix is saying, hi Nacho, do you think Jackson starts? Yes, I do think Jackson will start for sure. Tim saying, should I sell Gabriel Jesus? No, I would keep him for this week. I don't think it is a desperate sell right now at all. Sun saying, what are your thoughts on Odegaard to Sarr and João Pedro to Isak for a -4 hit? I don't love it for a hit. If those were free transfers, I absolutely would make those moves, but for a -4 point hit, I don't absolutely love it. T-Bone saying bench Semenyo or Mbeumo. I personally would, controversially, probably bench Mbeumo because I just prefer this Arsenal defence myself. Wilmer saying I took a -4 to bring in Watkins from Cunha. I hope it works out. Hope it works out for you too, my friend, as well. Chris saying, can you make any suggestions to my team, please? Rare, Gabriel Van Dijk, Rob. Not sure who Rob is. Robinson, I'm going to suggest. Salah, Gordon, Enzo, Palmer, Isak, Mateta, Jackson. On the bench, Fabianski, Dalot, Ahmad, and Greaves. I agree with the lineup that you've selected, and I wouldn't make any transfers to that team. So I think you've got a really nice combination of differentials in the likes of Mateta and also those glue guys in your side. So no moves to make there at all, mate. Sell Vardiel for Trent. I have Alisson as well. You cannot sell Vardiel with a game against Leicester. I'm just very, very confident on that suggestion. If Vardiel concedes, then it just is what it is. Leicester, one of the best teams you can have this season in terms of a game. And Vardiel offers plenty in attack. I would keep Vardiel. Now, there is a suggestion that Vardiel might play at centre-back, but that's not to say he couldn't score from a set piece as well. And I see we've got a super chat from Boy in the Autumn who, mate, you always are so generous on these live streams, so I really do appreciate it, and I do hope you had an amazing Christmas. And guys, I forgot to say, I hope everyone on here has had a great Christmas as well. I've been saying it in the videos that I've recorded, but I appreciate this is actually the first live stream, so I do apologise. Hope everyone had an amazing Christmas wherever you are watching, and hopefully you had time to spend it with family and friends. And Boy in the Autumn, again, thank you so much for the super chat. So let's get cracking with this one. So Fabianski, Gabriel, Timber, Hall, Mikalenko, Salah, Palmer, Semenyo, Isak, Wood, Pedro. And you got a bench of Flecken, Bowen, Fernandez agrees. 2 free transfers, 1.2 million banked. Okay, so as of right now, we don't know with certainty what the situation is with, of course, Fabianski and Flecken. It does sound like there is a good chance that both could be out, which is a problem for you. Now, with 1.2 million in the bank, I think there will be a temptation to do Flecken out to somebody like a Pickford that we know is going to have a double game week in the future. And I think Everton just look pretty steady right now since, of course, Branthwaite has returned in that defence. So I like the idea of doing Flecken to Pickford and getting that coverage. The problem is you've already got Mikalenko as well, so then you are doubling down on that Everton defence. I just don't think you should go into this game week with the potential of a goalkeeper not featuring for you. So Flecken to Alisson or Flecken to Pickford would be my recommendation. In terms of the rest of the team, I don't think there are any desperate moves that you need to make. You of course have Bruno Fernandes, but as I've spoken to people, you right now got Bowen on your bench, so you could easily start Bowen this week, worst case scenario. I mean, West Ham this week with their fixture, as you can see against Liverpool, it's not great, but it's not the worst. Like, West Ham could catch them on a counter. So for me, I'll be focusing on a goalkeeper, Flecken to either Henderson of Crystal Palace or going all the way up to an Alisson or a Pickford. And then in terms of the rest of your team, if you then want to use the second transfer, a move that you could consider doing is either Fernandes out to an Anthony Gordon as a recommendation, or coming all the way down to an Ismaila Sarr. Again, mate, let me know any additional bits in the chat, and don't put another super chat because that is generous enough as it is, my friend. Let's bring back my team a minute. And guys, what I want to show you quickly is maybe a plan of my team over the coming weeks if I do choose to roll the transfer, which is my current plan right now. I'm just trying to bring up the planner which I have got on the official site, but it doesn't look like it's working right now, which is a little bit of a shame. So I might have to bring up another planner like fpl.team or something. Give it 2 seconds. Okay, it's not working, so I'll bring up fpl.team in a minute for you guys to check out my plans going forward. Morse Tretnik, we do well, mate, as always. Adam saying start João Pedro Oh, here we go. Here's the planner. Cool. Here is the planner. I just want to quickly show you what my plan is if I was to roll the transfer. So going into game week 20, my team would look something like this. Fine with Sal's playing against Wolves. I just back Nottingham Forest in any fixture right now. Munoz at home against Chelsea, absolutely fine. Anderson at home against Ipswich, great. It would possibly be another back four, but I would probably look to start Bruno Fernandes instead of João Pedro just because they're up against Arsenal. And I think Visser would have to come in. So it would be a temptation, actually, maybe to bench Munoz or Anderson, maybe Anderson, and have a team like this. And when we look at game week 20, I don't have any Aston Villa, but I don't really feel compelled to go there apart from maybe a Morgan Rogers, which is absolutely a fine pick. We got Semenyo in this game. Fulham, of course, we already got Anderson. No attackers, but it is what it is. Then, of course, we're avoiding Man City right now. So I don't feel like game week 20, I'm missing out on too much. And another reason why I could then roll the transfer this week, and then coming into game week 21, I think the team once again looks strong. Hopefully, if Fabianski is back, I play him in this fixture in game week 21. Munoz away against Leicester, and obviously the other two that are going to start every single game. Gordon at home against Wolves, Palmer, Salah. Semenyo possibly with then a transfer out. And part of a reason why I am looking to roll my transfers, because I feel like Semenyo, João Pedro and Visser are going to become problems in my team. And if I was to make the Bruno Fernandes move in game week 19, I feel like I'm never going to get into a position where I can actually rectify the structure of my team. The only consideration I am thinking this week is, if I could, doing Bruno Fernandes to Ismaila Sarr. I'm not sure why he's not coming up there. Here we go. So possibly bringing in Ismaila Sarr, and he probably would come in for this week instead of Anderson. Then going into game week 19, my team will look like this. Double Palace. Team kind of picks itself. I would have to start Visser, and it probably would be instead of João Pedro, and the team would look something along these lines, which looks great. So I would roll the transfer in game week 20. Then in game week 21, we'd have again Ismaila Sarr away against Leicester, which is fantastic. The defence looks great. We got João Pedro coming in for Visser. And when we look at the actual rest of the team, Semenyo away against Chelsea, not ideal. Fabianski coming in for Sells, if he's available. And we look at game week 21, and who are the teams that I don't really own that I feel desperate to own? Well, Man United at home against Southampton is great, and a reason why holding on for Bruno Fernandes is ideal. But if I got to game week 21, would I feel desperate to bring in Bruno Fernandes? Probably not, I'm going to say. I feel like we're going to see some bad stuff from United over this period. I've already got the Newcastle coverage, which is fantastic. So I need to understand what I would do with the money in the bank. Now, something that I could do is start to bring in Nicholas Jackson. And with 2 free transfers available in game week 21, because I would roll in game week 20, a reminder. Coming into game week 21, what I could do as part of a bit of a combination in my team is possibly do Visser out, because the fixtures remain pretty rough for them over this period. So I could look to sell Visser and bring in Jackson. Again, no idea why Nicholas Jackson isn't coming up. Here we go. And then I could actually do that as part of a free transfer if I got lucky enough to do so, and bench Semenyo. And the team would look like this. I wouldn't have Bruno Fernandes, which of course isn't amazing. But also, am I desperate to own Bruno Fernandes? That is the question that I've got to ask myself. And the more that I look at this team right now, the more I ask myself, is maybe selling Ismaila Sarr actually, bringing in Ismaila Sarr actually the way to go? I'll have a little think about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, guys. What would you do with this team? The more I look at it, the more I actually think I'd rather land on this team in game week 21 than have Bruno Fernandes in my team. Interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'll be super interested to know. Let's get back to some of the chat. Is it worth wasting a transfer removing Clivert for a Sarr? I mean, Bournemouth have got like okay fixtures. They're okay. Obviously, if I bring up Semenyo's right now as a reminder, that's a bit tricky. That's okay. Then it's tricky. I like the move if you have no other issues in your team. That is the only thing I can say there. Do I start Rodgers over João Pedro? Oof, I probably would, yes. I just don't like Brighton right now. Morning, Nacho. Ahmad to Sarr or roll my 1 free transfer. Plan is to bench Ahmad and start Rodgers. Okay, so Ahmad to Sarr Morning, Nacho. Ahmad to start or roll one for a transfer. Plan is to bench Ahmad and start Rodgers. I think I'd roll the transfer there because you've got Rodgers who has a great fixture this week. So I think you're in a bit of a spot where you could definitely do so. Sell Cunha or Strand Larson? Neither. I wouldn't sell either this week. If I had to sell one, then no, I'm going to say neither. The reason being is the answer would be Strand Larson, but then what happens next week when then Cunha possibly gets banned? I don't think you can take that risk. Charlotte's saying, do you think City will get the win today? I think they have to. I think anybody that's saying that Leicester are going to win this week probably are just being a little bit very negative towards Man City. I think Leicester are just the worst team that they are going to play this season. And I just think Man City will win today. I think quite convincingly is my thought. And again, let me know in the chat, guys. What do you think the score is going to be in that Man City game? Salah's my captain. Yes, I'm pretty confident on a Salah captaincy. I do think Cole Palmer is a brilliant option as well. But right now, I just can't look past Mo Salah. And the times that I have looked against him has been problematic for my team. So I am more than happy to stick with that for now and go for him. And again, I can see 75% of people are going for Mo Salah, which is quite interesting. Just seeing if there's any news on the chat, possibly about early news. I can't see anything right now. Can't see anything. Now, I am very tempted to bring in Ismail Assar, as I mentioned, guys, even though I was originally planning to roll my transfer. Salah all day, EO alone, yes, I agree. His effective ownership is going to be massive. And let me bring back my original team, guys, just for a bit of a heads up on what we're looking like. Currently looking to roll my transfer, just to give my team some flexibility. But as I have just discussed, after looking at some combinations, something that I am considering is doing Bruno Fernandes to Ismail Assar. And then what that enables me to do is bring in Nicholas Jackson in game week 21 and basically just avoid Man United for now. I think Bruno Fernandes is great, but I think I'm maybe underplaying the fact that Bruno Fernandes and Man United are maybe not great right now. So Bruno to Ismail Assar is really on the cards as we speak. Going Salah, yep, Salah. Bench Lewis, Castagne or Hall, I can start one. Okay, so I think, obviously, let's take a look at the fixtures for anybody that doesn't know him in reference. Castagne against Bournemouth is always tricky. Like, on paper, it makes sense to bench Hall because the fixture is trickier on paper. So I'm going to say bench Hall myself. But you're saying I can only start one. I think if Lewis would get the early leak that he started, I think you just have to start Lewis. I think Leicester are really bad. Digne to Munoz or João Pedro to Mateta or both for a -4. I don't love it for a -4, but I do like Digne to Munoz. I think he is the outstanding Crystal Palace asset right now. What to do with Ahmad and Enzo? Because of their price point, I would just keep. Unless you've got money in the bank that you can go elsewhere. That would be my thought process. Rodgers or Ahmad? Right now, I would be going for Rodgers myself. I think the fixtures are good enough over the next few weeks. Alisson, Raya or Sells? I think because of the potential or the future double game week for Liverpool, my answer there would be Alisson. I think that is the one to go for because there is an expectation that Liverpool might double in game week 25, and that is really, really appealing. Start Mbeumo or Ahmad? I would start Mbeumo. I just think I would start the man on penalties. I know it's against a tougher defence, but Ahmad, I just don't know. I still would go for Mbeumo. Who to bench? Colwell, Gabriel, Robinson or Mazwari? So for me, it's a no-brainer that Gabriel and Robinson start. And I would bench Mazwari if it's only one right now. Bruno Larson to Sarr Isak for a -4. Ron, I don't love it for a -4. However, you are getting rid of a player that has a red card. I think the big thing we need to note is what's your squad depth like? Because you're saying for a -4, my assumption is because you're considering that, it means you don't have any bench players that can come in for a Bruno Fernandes this week. And then if that is the case, then I do like the -4 because I love the two players that you are bringing in. Between Timber and Lewis Hall, I think both of their team will concede this week. I prefer Hall with attack returns. What's your opinion? For me, I would always be playing the Arsenal defender myself. Addy Max saying, Hi mate, take out Johnson for Gordon and bench João Pedro for a 3-5-2 with Cunha and Isak up top, or roll the transfer, but who to start? So after listening to a few podcasts, it does sound like Johnson could be a risk. So I do like Johnson to Gordon or Johnson to Ismail Assar. Yes, I do like those two plays. Crown saying bench 2 of Mikolenko, Robinson or Colwell. If I had a bench 2 this week, you got a bench 2. Wow. I would always play Robinson. So I would bench Mikolenko and Colwell. Anyone asking about the Cunha situation, anything you saw about a ban was fake news from FPL Buna. He got everybody from the likes of The Athletic to The Sun. To the Sun, bloody hell. But yeah, it sounds like Cunha is fine right now. I think there will be a ban incoming for him, but as of right now, I don't think there needs to be any concerns. I think it's a case of just let the week roll out and go from there. And again, for anybody that's watching right now, enjoying the streams, it's always massively appreciated if you do drop a like on the stream. And if you enjoy the content in general, hitting that subscribe button. It's such a busy period over this Christmas break, and it's been amazing to have the support from you guys. So if you're enjoying it and you're watching it and you want to be a subscriber, it'd be amazing to have you on board. So hopefully you guys can jump on. Sorry guys, I just got to drop a message to me. Give me 2 seconds. I do apologise. Sorry guys, let me get back on this. Bench Timber or Robinson. Now this is a close one. I would say if you already have an Arsenal defender, then I would start Robinson, bench Timber. However, if you have no Arsenal coverage, then I would bench Robinson. My thing to you is, how good is your team to have that as a benching dilemma? Like, who are your other defenders right now? I just don't see it. And again, I'm going to get rid of the capacity poll because it looks pretty clear cut that people are going for Mo Salah this week. That does look like the standout option for managers. I'm just bringing up to make sure I'm not missing anything right now on Twitter. I'm just going to get a Twitter screen up on my monitors right now just to make sure we're not missing out any news about, you know, the likes of Lewis starting or whatnot. So let's take a quick look. Okay, and we'll get back to the chat right now. Again, guys, the more that I'm deliberating it, the more I think to myself, Ismail Assar is a potential transfer in for my team. I do like Bruno Fernandes. I do think he's a good option. But with my team structure right now, I very much have got Alexander Isak. Then we've got obviously the cheap forwards. And then that is basically it. And I think because of my structure, I've got Salah. I've got Palmer. I've got Gordon. So I've got that kind of structure of premium, mid-priced, and I don't have the cheap enablers. And I think right now, maybe going to an Ismail Assar is actually the route to go for right now. So that is my current plan, is if I'm going to make a move, it will be doing Bruno Fernandes to Ismail Assar, or I'll roll the transfer. Those are the two deliberations. And guys, from a selfish perspective, I'm going to ask you, because which would you make a move? What? And again, this is the beauty of having a stream like this, is you guys are so damn good with your recommendations that I love using you guys to help me out my own team as well. So let me just put in here a minute. What move would you make? Would you do roll transfer? Or would you do Bruno to Sa? Or would you do, for example, Bruno to Rodgers? Let me know your thoughts in that poll, guys. Remember, I've got 0 in the bank, 1 free transfer available, and I think my stream might be playing up a little bit, so hopefully it's gone a bit better now. But let me know in the chat, guys, if the stream's gone a little bit dodgy. Bench 1 is João Pedro, Semenyo, or MB. Not sure who MB is. In Buemo, possibly. I would bench out of them lot probably João Pedro. I just really am struggling with João Pedro right now. Should I start João Pedro or Consa? Oof, that is tricky. That is tricky. Based on this game week in isolation, I think I would go for a benching of Konsa. I probably would bench Konsa just. Bench 1, Saliba, Gabriel, Trent, or Robinson. Okay, so of that lot, I think I would be benching... I mean, I wouldn't be wanting to bench any of them. Honestly, I wouldn't bench any of them, but if I had to pick, it probably would be Robinson, regretfully. Bench 1, Enzo, Rogers, or Bowen. I already have Palmer and Jackson. Bench 1 of Enzo, Rogers, or Bowen. I think it would have to be, for me... Damn. I mean, it probably would have to be benching Enzo. Probably would have to be benching Enzo. Should I start João Pedro or Konsa? Then the answer to me would be benching Konsa. I've covered that one. Bring Munoz for Hall for a -4. No, not for a -4. I don't love that at all. Should I start João Pedro or Konsa? I've covered that one off a few times. Apologies. I see 50% of you are saying I should do Bruno to Sarr and 28% are saying roll the transfer. Now, I think that's the big thing right now is what do I gain from rolling the transfer? That's my only conundrum because I do think Bruno Fernandes could do okay against Liverpool, but I feel like that's just a lot of bias right now. And I'm a Chelsea fan, by the way, so it's not like I'm United bias. But maybe I've convinced myself in my head that rolling the transfer is necessary for me. But as I said, Ismaila Sarr for me is quite an exciting prospect and the numbers are great. And he would then come in for probably Anderson, I imagine he'd come in for. I think he'd come in for Anderson. And then I'd bench Visser and I'd have a team like this probably. Probably even have it this way round. And I'd be pretty content with this team. With Ismaila Sarr at home against Southampton and personally thinking Palace could do a bit against Chelsea as well. I think he's good for that. Numbers have been good. Minutes are great. Yeah, this would be very tempting. This would be very tempting for this week. And then game week 20, knowing that I can roll the transfer as nothing bad arises, I think that's a good spot to be in. Anderson could come in easily for any of these players if I want them to do so. And Visser could come in as well. Ismaila Sarr's fixtures look really good. Really good long term. So yeah, that is definitely a consideration for me right now. Shall I sell Ahmad for Gordon? It feels like a luxury move. It feels like a luxury move that you're allocating a lot of your budget towards. Start Mbeumo or Semenyo. I would probably start Semenyo just because the fixture's better. Play João Pedro or Mbeumo. I hate João Pedro, so it probably would be Mbeumo. Start a Stupinan or a Nori. I would start probably Nori, controversially. Probably 8 Nori. I do apologise, guys. We are going to have to wrap it up a minute. I spoke about how this was going to be a quick stream because I am off out playing paddleball. I've a little bit double booked myself, so I might have to do a quick 5-minute Q&A blast. So please do put any questions in the chat. I'll try and get to them ASAP. Bring Sarr for Ahmad from -4. No, I would not do that. Don't double up on the Crystal Palace. Mason saying that's fair. That's fair. Start Cucurella or Robinson. I would start Robinson myself. I think Chelsea just give up chances regardless. Keep Bruno or do Semenyo to Sarr. Again, I think you could just start Semenyo and be fine with it. Surely there is better than JP you can have up top. There is, but in my spot, I don't have any money in the bank to enable any moves. Bring Sarr for Ahmad, cover that one. Isak captain, don't mind it, but I prefer Salah. Start Johnson or Pedro. I would start Pedro. I think Johnson could be benched. Start Castagno, Mikalenko. I think I would just lean towards Castagno for that potential attacking output. Do I bench Ahmad or João Pedro? I think I would bench of the two. Probably Ahmad, but I hate João Pedro. So if it was me, I'd bench João Pedro because I just really think he's overrated as an FPL option. But Newcastle defense have been good recently. But with them being at home, it probably would be start Ahmad. Why not do Semenyo to start this week? Unfortunately, I don't have the money available to do so. Otherwise, that would be an absolute no-brainer for me. Any news on Welbeck? No, I haven't seen any news. Play Munoz or Robinson? The answer would be Munoz 100%. I have Munoz, Virgil, Timber and Robinson dilemma bench 1 and Rare in goal. We have to start Munoz 100%. If you've got Rare in goal, then I would go for Munoz, Virgil and probably Timber again and bench Robinson, I think. And just describe, do I bench Ahmad or JP? For me, I probably would just bench Joe Pedro myself. But of course, you are taking a risk on either of those players being benched and doing okay. Boy in the autumn saying, do you think I should transfer out Fernandez for Sarr or Gordon? It depends on your team structure. Now, if you go down to Sarr, you need to make sure you have a reason to enable the money to go elsewhere because you're going to free up about 3 million. So like myself, if I do that move, it'll be with an idea of bringing in Nicholas Jackson in game week 21. So I don't mind the move there. But if you need to keep the structure of a team, then going to somebody like a Gordon enables you to have that player at the price point where you can go off in different directions if you choose to. So it's a difficult one for me to answer, but I think Sarr has more upside this week, but Gordon enables you to keep that price point in the team. Start Colwell or Gomez? I think I'll start Colwell. Right, guys, I do apologise. We're going to have to wrap it up there because I got to dash off this morning. I can't work around the deadlines today, unfortunately. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. There are plenty of content creators out there doing their usual 2-hour streams now, so make sure you do check them out. I'll be dropping a video Monday evening with a bit of a review on the game week and also my transfer plans for game week 20. Have an amazing day, guys. Take care. Hope your game week is fantastic, and I'll see